Good evening, and welcome to Creating Hope with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. My name is Celesta Bellecci, and I'm the Miller McCune Executive Director at UC Santa Barbara's Arts and Lectures program, and it is my great honor to host tonight, co-presented by the Department of Religious Studies. This event is the keynote of our 2021 Creating Hope initiative. We are living in a moment that calls for optimism, resilience, courage, and vision, and who better to spark those qualities within us than the Dalai Lama and our dear friend, Pico Iyer. And now please welcome the University of California, Santa Barbara's Chancellor, Henry T. Yang.
Thank you, Celesta. Greetings, everyone, to Your Holiness. It is an extraordinary honor to be with you today. We have been looking forward to this special occasion. Joining us in welcoming His Holiness is our system-wide president of the 10 University of California campuses, Dr. Michael Drake. Thank you, President Drake. The University of California, Santa Barbara is delighted to share with viewers around the world this inspirational message of hope from the 14th Dalai Lama. This is the 5th time we have had the privilege of welcoming His Holiness to UC Santa Barbara. This is especially meaningful as we proudly celebrated the 20th anniversary of the establishment of our campus's endowed professorship named in honor of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama Endowed Chair in Tibetan Buddhism and Cultural Studies. The establishment of the Dalai Lama professorship has provided countless students and scholars with the opportunity to explore the richness of Tibetan Buddhism and the history of culture of Tibetan people, as well as strengthened our highly regarded Department of Religious Studies. We are honored to be joined here by our Dalai Lama Professor Jose Capizon, along with some of our faculty colleagues and graduate students. The Dalai Lama is an incomparable Buddhist teacher and a champion of reconciliation. His Holiness has the unique and powerful ability to radiate true compassion and peace into our hearts and stir our minds to imagine a more just future. We are humbled to have this special opportunity to listen and learn from him. It is now my honor to turn our program over to renowned writer and a longtime campus friend, Pico Iyer.
Thank you, Chancellor Yang. Welcome, Your Holiness. Very nice to see you again. So, this series is about creating hope. Can you tell us the Buddhist understanding of hope? What does hope mean for Buddhists?
Nangbe dacho ngone the hope se joro rewa di condition jik ngonji namje na deshi jang.
I think simply for life, from birth, our life very much based on hope. So hope for good. And then I think mainly I feel even when we are in mother's womb, the mother's mind more peaceful, no anger, then it affects the unborn child. So peace of mind is very essential. So that very much based on hope. Future, hope means for future. For future, no guarantee, but we still remain on hope. It is much better. This is too much pessimistic, pessimism. You see, it's truly harmful. Every our potential then cannot function or utilize properly. So hope, optimism is very, very important. A global level, in spite a lot of difficulties, remain with hope. And there is a basis, I believe, 7 billion human beings, all actually come from our mother. We all grown under mother's care. So that is the time to cultivate in our mind compassion. So we ourselves very much appreciate mother's kindness. Without that, you can't survive. Even animal, biologically, the mother always taking care. Even birds, all these small insect, I don't know. But most of the mammals, you see, mother is the key factor for survival of their youngster. So we always experience loving kindness is the key factor, and that gives us hope. So I think if we investigate those child, very young age, mother passed away, I think long run, their the emotional level, I think something difficulties. So mother's kindness is very, very essential, and that give us hope. So all our life very much depend on hope, no guarantee. In spite of many difficulties, still hope there, then you can overcome this problem. Even if it's a small problem, you remain hopeless, then you really facing more difficulties or disaster. So hope is key factor. Hope very much connected with compassion, loving kindness. That's my view. According to my own, my own experience. So my life, passing through a lot of difficulties, but we never give up hope. And hope also very much based on, very much connected with truthful, honest. No matter what other attitude, you yourself remain truthful, honest. These are the basis of our hope and self-confidence. I feel like that. So during now few decades, I was passing through difficult life, but I always keep, honest, truthful hope. So according to my own experience, hope very much based, very much connected with truthful, like that. I think a lot of cleverness or cunning, although you see some hope, sometimes hope and cunning may come together, but that hope is more or less comparatively more artificial. Truthful, honest, then hope is really also more powerful, like that. So according to my own now experience, now no matter what difficulties, and also you see people who create a problem for me, as Shantideva says, your enemy is best teacher. So from enemy, see, you can practice patience and determination. And honest also some connection. No matter what sort of so-called enemy you see create problem, you remain honest, truthful. Then eventually the people who criticize you, they also eventually change. So truthful, honest, very important. Okay.
Are there ways we can train ourselves to be realistic in our hopes? Because so we're not hoping for the wrong thing.
That's our intelligence, human brain, you see, and long-sighted, not short-sighted. No matter what immediate sort of situation, but think long run. Then the hope, and also you see they combine with sort of knowledge, thinking, wider perspective, and a long-term interest. So, for as a practitioner, you see, we thinking the eons, and entire sentient being. So these really, you see, very helpful. You see, to keep inner self-confidence, inner strength. These very much connected with honest, truthful. Yes?
So for Your Holiness, hope is not connected to religion. It's universal. Is that right?
So religion, usually, you see, generally speaking, religion, something connected with faith. So now these things are even animal, no faith, but they also carry their work more honest, truthful. So when we receive the maximum affection from mother without a faith, so faith, religion, I think we human beings, it's a creation, faith. And however, all major religious faith carry one message, that's loving kindness and compassion. All religion carry that, in spite different philosophical views. Some say there's God, some say no God, and some say life after life. Some say only one life, like that. So there are a philosophical view. There are many differences. But all religion, you see, carry one message, loving kindness. And according theistic religion, for example, Christian, you see, there are sort of view, we all created by God. God, like our Father, the God, infinite love. So we all are children of that kind of Father. So that also very powerful, you see, to give you also the recognize importance of loving kindness, like that. And then a non-believer without religion, that also, you see, in order to keep your peace of mind, honest, truthful, and as some scientists say, we are social animal. Social animal, their very survival depend on the community. So from the birth, it's some kind of sense of concern of their own small community, even animal. So we also belong that social animal. So therefore, without a religion, it's simply the children is firstly a mother's affection. Then those children who mixing with other children and with smile and play, their children much happier. For study also, much successful. Or children without surrounding sort of, or say, a compassionate friend, the difficult. So therefore, I have a strong view or honest compassion. These are not necessarily religious things. These are in order to carry successful, happy life. These are very important. And on top of that, we are social animal. So among individuals who part of the social animal, you see, taking care, their sort of group is key thing, special key thing for your own survival. So without religion, simply you think more seriously, then for your own survival, you need community. So you should pay more, or say the closeness feeling to society. So in that, compassion is the key factor. Anger, opposite. So therefore, any social animal use human intelligence, or then anger is no use. Always destroy harmony, happiness, or altruism, a sense of community that brings self-confidence and happiness. So without any religion, use common sense, you can see more sort of sense of concern of your own brothers, sisters. According to my own, now here, I always used to say, oneness of 7 billion human beings. With that feeling, wherever I go, no matter what nationality, not religion, I always consider just human brothers, sisters. So wherever I go, I met someone, just I feel human brothers, sisters. We are part of 7 billion human community, like that. If I met one human being with third eye, then I may find a little bit anxiety how to do. Otherwise, you see, just 2 eyes and nose. You see, as soon as we met, yes, another human brother, human sister. And then we are as a community now today, world. I always telling the 7 billion human beings of the world are same human brothers, sisters. So we need sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. A different nationality, different religion, different class. These are just man-made problem, man-made thinking. It source of problem. So we must go to fundamental level. We all same human being. I think one example, when we so due to some problem, you escaped, you alone, and just you lonely. Then from distance, one human being coming. So not thinking, what is that human being? What is nationality? What is religion? What is races? Simply one human being, there you feel, I can ask some help. So that is when we little bit sort of luxuries, then we too much distinction, different nationality, different religion, and within the same, rich and poor, like that. But when we really facing tremendous sort of desperate difficulties, then you get the feeling of oneness, like that. So now today's world, if we think oneness of 7 billion human beings, then no basis of violence, no basis of war. War, violence, too much based on distinction. My nation, their nation. My religion, their religion. So now, 21st century, I think violence and exploitation, I think now enough. Now we should, some scientists say, within next few decades, or due to global warming, you see, world really facing some problem. So now remaining few decades, let us stay together, happily, helping each other. So our thinking, firstly, human nature, compassion, honest, truthful, there. Then use human intelligence according to circumstances, that through that way combine some, compassion, combined with certain sort of reason, logical approach. So, remaining few decades, let us remain happily with concept of oneness of human being, the different interest for different nationality or religion, these are secondary. Right?
Right. When we think about global warming, though, many people are afraid or very worried. How can we keep hope when there's a very big challenge in front of all humanity?
Karsa.
Namshi.
Ka.
Koryu da namshi gyurdo di da semte shi wish lang di gyur smi ma buchira. O di kabla nya chi rewa mala we tapshi khande shi na ho yana shi.
Ka.
Climate change
Now the global warming. Now these, we should use these sort of serious matter. Now, no longer reason to fight. We have to live together. East, West, North, South. We all same human being. We all live on this same planet. So now no longer is it thinking my nation, my group. That's now ancient thinking. Now today's reality, now no longer that thinking. We should think oneness of 7 billion human beings. Okay.
Your Holiness has had many difficulties in your life, as you said. Sometimes have you worried that you're losing hope?
Karsa.
자가람 시 kutsina la kunye ma bu chena yoro was. Ti di yang chi kunye tebe ka la chi rewa chi la na ba ti ko ni sha yena menas.
I think only 17th March I left Lhasa. I escaped from Lhasa, and with the feeling of whether I can see next day or not. Then the next day sunshine come. Then I felt, yes, I survived. No problem. That's only one occasion. But because of the Chinese bombardment, almost certain. So, and one particular thing, one Chinese general asked me in Nobulinga from different building, so where Dalai Lama stay should mark. So that's, they say they protect. They will going to bombardment Nobulinga. But Dalai Lama's house, they will protect. So either protect or target, do not know. So only that occasion, very much sort of also the anxiety. But then next day come and there's one pass, one small mountain. When I reach on the mountain, the person who helped me, horse, then he says, now this is the last place to see Potala Lhasa. So he turned my horse to see. But then gradually reach India. India, historically, we have very close link. So all our knowledge come from India. And the Nalanda tradition is very scientific. Like Nagarjuna and these sort of great Nalanda master, they always thinking through investigation. Even Buddha's own word, if you find some contradiction then we have right to reject. So that's very useful, our thinking, not faith, but you see, just investigation. So I, since childhood, I learned Buddhist logic. So always thinking logical approach, not faith. So faith combined with logical, then that faith is very sound. Without a logical approach, just a faith is just a faith. So therefore, the Nalanda tradition is something like Nagarjuna, these great Buddhist master, they're always thinking logical approach, very helpful. So therefore, after I came here as a refugee, I have the opportunity meeting with a non-believer and also many scientists. So we only analytical thinking, not faith. So a number of scientists, after sort of our discussion, then number of scientists really showing interest. Our way of thinking is not faith, just analyze, thinking like that. So India, I think the Nalanda, the place of Nalanda institution, and India, over 1,000 years, the concept of shamatha, vipassana, meditation, analytical meditation, single-pointed meditation, over 3,000 years. And main sort of message and ahimsa, non-violence, and karuna, compassion. So very useful. The practice of compassion or practice of non-violence is based on reason. It's very helpful, very helpful. So our logical approach, logical thinking is very essential. Just a faith. Then someone say different, then you may find, oh, what is truth? The thoroughly investigation. Then you see someone say something different. Then you see, oh, that view is wrong. My view is thoroughly investigate, is sound basis or reason, like that. So, analytical meditation, analyze, is very essential. Sometimes I jokingly, you see, telling some Buddhist monk from Burma, Sri Lanka, Thailand, some become very close friend. Then I tease them, since you not study logic, therefore you have no teeth. If something hard to eat, then with teeth we can do that. So the Nalanda tradition, logical approach, always investigate, is very essential, very helpful. Thank you.
This year, so many people have been affected by the pandemic. So many people have died and have seen loved ones die. How do we deal with with death and loss? How do we stay hopeful?
Now, I very much appreciate that many doctors, scientists, and nurses, they really are helping or doing something about this illness. I really wonderful. But then, as a Buddhist, basically, this very body is the basis of all these different illness. And then, according Buddhist psychology, I think a peace of mind also makes some differences. So when illness comes and too much anxiety, that may help to this illness become serious. More sort of calm mind, like if you see this illness happen, it happened due to our own karma. Then you see you have more sort of self-confidence like that. So that I think makes some differences like that. Okay.
I know Your Holiness has a lot of faith and confidence in the young people. Is that one reason that you're hopeful for the future, the younger generation?
Oh, yes. I think our older generation, they often used to copy what happened past. Now younger generation, more open. And on top of that, you see more knowledge about the human mind. Academic, now here in India, the modern education mainly come from West. So now India have, as I already mentioned, is a lot of knowledge about mind, how to train our mind. So this country, I feel there is potential combination, modern education and ancient Indian knowledge combined. Modern education, mainly materialistic thinking. Mainly, I think, senses of 5 organs. The Indian tradition, the sixth mind, chit. So more wisdom thinking. So now modern education, I feel, should include education about the human emotion, about the human mind, how to tackle human emotion. That's, I feel, important. Then even the word emotion, the English word, you see, not much sort of, let's say, a distinction, variety of emotion. The Indian psychology, at least you see, about, you see, more than 50 different kind of emotions. So, in modern education, you should combine these ancient Indian knowledge, very detailed sort of as a distinction about sixth mind and different emotion as an academic subject, not a religious subject, can be very useful, very helpful.
How can just a typical person, one of 7 billion people, train himself or herself for peace of mind?
Karsa.
지담이 기마든지 수이네 즉 셈종치에서 로종치에 셈종 같은 디 간데스체도 지오래서.
As I mentioned earlier, our education the existing education system in India introduced by Britisher. So now should include India's own 1,000-year-old sort of knowledge about mind. That I think should combine modern education, mainly related with physical comfort. And then ancient Indian knowledge about mind, the mental comfort. Now this, so as an academic subject, India secularly. So I think in future generation, I think education, in education, we should include education about mind, about emotion, how to tackle destructive emotion. That I feel very strongly. That eventually, now this illness, say, reduce. Then I want to talk or discuss with some Indian universities professors to discuss, you see, how to introduce in modern education about human mind according Indian tradition. Okay.
So Your Holiness has lived for 85, almost 86 years. In that time, do you think the world is moving forwards? Is the world better now than 85 years ago?
I think sometimes you see some difficulties is helpful, you see, to think how to overcome that. No longer take for granted or make effort, more investigation. So these, for example, this illness and global warming, you see, give us new thinking. Oh, how to solve these things, how to overcome this problem. Not just lay down. Right?
Give up. Give up. Just
Give
up.
Correct.
Lay down.
So sometimes to say difficulties are helpful to open our intelligence and thinking more. As Shantadeva say, when we face some problem, think seriously. If the problem can overcome, then no need worry. But the thing can overcome, then we must pay more attention, make every effort to overcome. So sometimes you see difficulties, including illness, you see, give us, wake up our mind. I think generally, I feel younger generation, I think more open-minded. The older one take for granted and just follow according to our existing sort of, for example, education, go like that. Now younger generation, now new subject, new problem, and it helpful to wake up and how to do, overcome. Like that.
Some people are worried there's more violence, more anger in the world now than ever. Is that your feeling, or are you still hopeful?
I think, I feel previous century, First World War, Second World War, or such things happen. Then I always say, to tell my opinion, the European country, the French, Germany, arch enemy. But then, after Second World War, then under the leadership of Adenauer and de Gaulle, they developed European Union. So since the European Union developed, no longer any fight or killing among the European Union member states. So that one example. Now eventually the whole world should develop that kind of union. We just one human, as a human species, we just one humankind, and use this world. So I think more serious, difficult situation sometimes is very helpful to get to wake up and just find our old thinking is outdated. Now we should think according to reality. Like that. I think my own experience, if I still remain in Lhasa, more narrow-minded, then become refugee and come to India and really open my mind. So sometimes you see, difficulties is very helpful to open our mind and to fully utilize our intelligence without losing courage. Okay.
Many people here are concerned about Tibet and its religion and its culture. How can we around the world help Tibet and ensure a good future for Tibetan culture?
Tibetan culture, of course, Tibetan political matter since now 2001, I already retired. But I very much sort of involved to preserve Tibetan culture because the Nalanda tradition in 8th century, the Tibetan emperor, you see, invited Nalanda master, Shantarakshita. He great logician, great philosopher. So he introduced the Nalanda tradition. So that I already briefly mentioned. The Nalanda tradition, I feel very scientific thinking. So therefore, we Tibetan, since 8th century, Shantadewa introduced Shantarakshita introduced Buddhism according to Nalanda tradition, very much emphasis on logical approach. So now today, I think we Tibetan knowledge about Buddha Dharma is something very sound basis, always logical approach. So after Shantarakshita, you see, at that time, some Chinese Buddhists also there. You see, they consider meditation is more important than study. So then, Shantarakshita's disciple, Kamalashila, invite Kamalashila, and Tibetan emperor sit in the center, and then one side the Chinese meditationer, one side Kamalashila and his also the disciples, and debate. Then the Chinese scholar emphasis more meditation, not important study. Then Kamalashila, then argue. Then finally, some of these Chinese meditationer dismiss or send back to China, like that. So, we Tibetan, since then, very much kept the Nalanda tradition, logical approach, Parmana Vatika, Parmana Vatika Karika. Now these we study in Chinese language, even you see the dignags or Karada,
Pramana Samuchaya.
or Parmana Samujaya, or not yet translated in Chinese language. But with Tibetan, most of logical text translated. We not only translated, we study at least with a few years. Myself also, since childhood, I learned by heart some of these sort of important texts like that. So therefore, our Buddhist tradition is a true Nalanda tradition and very much involve logical things. So it is very useful, very helpful. So I always sort of expressing the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, which through a Nalanda tradition introduced by Shantarakshita, Shantarakshita, himself a great logician, as I mentioned earlier, great philosopher. So we Tibetan carry these sort of tradition or serious sort of study. So very, very helpful. According to my own experience, I find very, very helpful. So we must preserve this study, very important. So now in Tibet, in spite of some Chinese hardliner communists, there's a lot of restrictions or distractions, but in remote area, some monastic institution still carry these study. And then we, in India, you see, major important monastery which study at least, you see, 18, 20 years. In past, in Tibet, about 30 years for study. So these, we once introduce or re-establish this institution, mainly in South India. So over 10,000 monks, they carry study as a traditional way. And then including now one new subject about the science, we add. So we carry this study, including modern science, combined with modern science, very successful, very successful. Then now already some local Indian Buddhist monk already sort of study. So that's the way to help to revival of ancient Indian Nalanda knowledge among the Indian student, like that.
Thank you. I just 2 more questions. Your Holiness recently spoke about emotional hygiene. Can you explain what that is, how we can develop that?
근데 쌤이 최대한 꼭 여러분 지금 예전랑 선스 뒤지 가서래 제시당 아주 한데스티죠. 진짜 좋았어요.
Now, most cases, the most effective destroyer of peace of mind is anger. So, altruism, bodhicitta, altruism, these practice direct opposite about anger. Then also you see ignorance also causing some problem. But for that, study. Even you see one Tibetan great scholar mentioned, even you going to die next day, still today worthwhile study. So reason, then this life now and come. But you see, study, even one day here, last day, it some effect next life. So like that. So we kept this tradition and study, and mainly monk student, and also in our school, Tibetan school. When we established Tibetan school here, I asked Pandit Nehru and concerned also the officials in the education field. Since we have our own language and many sort of subject only available in Tibetan language, so in our school should learn Tibetan. And also the school, we appointed one sort of as a teacher for philosophy or logic, these things. So right from the beginning, we try our best to keep Tibetan tradition, knowledge. Firstly, these big monastic institutions. Then secondly, various our school should learn Tibetan, and we should have a special teacher for these things, like that. So we try our best to keep. And inside Tibet, as I mentioned briefly, some remote area, Tibetan monastic institution, and also some Tibetan student, they study continuously. So that's the way for preservation of Tibetan knowledge. When we study these things, it becomes very clear. Tibetan language is very important. Some of these philosophical or logical word, Tibetan, the word is direct translation from Sanskrit. Therefore, for study these things, Tibetan language is very important, very useful. So, now last few decades, some Chinese hardliner, they try to eliminate, Tibetan traditional knowledge of Buddhism, but fail. Now more and more Buddhist number among the Chinese. Some Chinese scholar, after they saw some of our publication, then they express Tibetan Buddhist tradition is true Nalanda tradition, and the Nalanda tradition is very scientific religion. So now things are changing. Things are changing. While I complete rest in this country as the longest guest of Indian government, you see, things are now really, you see, more positive things now coming. Like that.
Even within China, Tibetan Buddhism is growing, is healthy.
Yes, now, as I mentioned earlier, some Chinese scholars, they already pay attention about our knowledge. So now, sometimes a hardliner official come, they put some restrictions, but they cannot do that. Obviously, Buddhist philosophy is a Buddhist knowledge, because of the education knowledge, much deeper than Marxism. So, you see, communist China, hardliner, they are thinking only use Marxism, so cannot match Buddhist knowledge and Marxism. So, long run, Buddhist faith with a logical basis can preserve, can increase. The Marxist totalitarian system, no future. Okay.
So, Your Holiness, this event is for the University of California, especially here at Santa Barbara. Do you have any final words to pass on to university students?
So, Californian is, as our university, very important, as we already discussed, future, you see, very much based on education. So education, not just a traditional way, thinking or new knowledge, or think about sources of new knowledge. So particularly like big university, is some professor, you see, can carry more study, and then eventually some selected student, you see, teach like that. Then more and more student, you see, come. Strictly secular way, nothing to do with religion. Okay. So your university, I think, one famous university, I think can really make a significant contribution for a better world, for future, like that. Thank you.
So I'd like to hand it over now to Michael Drake, who's the president of the entire University of California system, for some concluding remarks.
Thank you very much, Pico, and appreciate it. And I'm thrilled and honored to join you all tonight for this remarkable program. And I want to thank His Holiness the Dalai Lama for spending his precious time with us. His Holiness has been a supporter of the University of California over many decades. I had so much the honor to meet him when he visited with us many years ago, and we're so appreciative of him for joining us again this evening, and of his generosity and his wisdom. We're grateful that His Holiness has been visiting Santa Barbara for almost 4 decades. The campus is also celebrating the 20th anniversary of the establishment of their 14th Dalai Lama chair in Tibetan Buddhism and Cultural Studies. Congratulations, UCSB. And we're also honored that UC Irvine is participating in this event, and we had a summit there celebrating the 80th birthday of His Holiness 6 years ago, and we appreciated that opportunity as well. Let me thank Pico for facilitating this important conversation. I found it both inspiring and thought-provoking, and I'm sure our audience did as well. And I think that the message that we are all 7 billion brothers and sisters on this planet in our different incarnations is a very important message. The importance of compassion and loving kindness in our daily lives is perhaps the most important message that we could share. And so let me again thank His Holiness for sharing this with people from all over the world, in every continent and every tradition. So often human beings really focus on our differences, but this is a good reminder of how much we all have in common, regardless of our backgrounds. Let me finally thank Chancellor Yang and Celeste Balachi and the rest of the team at UCSB for organizing this wonderful event. This is a great new initiative called Creating Hope, and I congratulate you on that. And I couldn't think of a better time to launch it, as our communities and the world are confronting any number of difficult problems and questions. We all need to be reminded of the good in the world and all the reasons that we have to feel hopeful. Thank you all again for inviting me to participate in this event this evening. Thank you, and back to you, Celeste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From time to time, we can discuss through this television. So, whatever way, even a small contribution regarding knowledge, it is my duty. So, now, despite my old age, but brain still okay. So whatever way I can make some contribution, it is my duty and very purpose of our life. You see, some small service to humanity is my real purpose of our life. And as a Buddhist monk, you dedicated your body, speech, and mind, dedicated to well-being of other. So, thank you. So from time to time, we can discuss. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness, and thank you, Pico, and thank you, President Drake, for those kind words. Your message of creating hope is certain to resonate with us all. We believe our Creating Hope programs will strengthen human connection, foster compassion, and urge us toward much-needed change. I'm deeply grateful to those who support Creating Hope here at UC Santa Barbara: Marcy Carsey, Audrey and Tim Fisher, Martha Gabbert, Dorothy Largey and Wayne Rosing, Sarah Miller-McCune, Linda Wyman and Bruce Haven, Natalie Orfla and Lou Buglioli, and an anonymous contributor. Much gratitude also to Chancellor Yang. And I leave you with this quote from the Dalai Lama: "Be kind whenever possible. It's always possible." Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.